Well, obviously, I had a lot of time to review Saturday on the bus ride home and all day Sunday, and obviously it was probably not as bad as I'd thought. Definitely not something that can't be corrected. I think the biggest thing we got to do is make sure that our messaging to our players, first and foremost, as coaches. So we kind of went through that a lot on Sunday. I'm glad that we were able to put that to bed Sunday night, let them go to dinner, and came back and introduced USC, and it's kind of the way that we took it. I think the first thing that we have to do is, you know, address what we did as coaches, right, and then obviously what we showed on the film and on the field on Saturday night is the next biggest thing. And I got good coaches, got good players, same group that we went over to Indiana. Thought we had a good football team. We came back, and I feel that same way. I know that we can rebound. I really think that you rely on who you are, what you built, and I know the answer to those questions. So congratulations again, Indiana. I thought that environment was pretty special, and a lot of people to give credit to over there, right? So that's that. With our injuries, some good and some bad. Obviously, Xavier didn't make trip with us. He was actually still getting some evaluation. The last I had a conversation with him last night, he'll have a procedure done this week on Wednesday. We'll be out for a majority of the rest of the year, but there's a chance he could come back at the end. So we'll kind of address that after he gets in and gets surgery where that is. But the guys that happened during the course of the game, Matt Bailey is in concussion protocol. I do think he'll get cleared later this week, but obviously that's a wait and see. The good thing about that one is he's played a lot of football and probably doesn't need a high majority of reps to be able to go out there and play. Really got devastated at certain positions at free safety. When Miles went out, that wasn't due to injury. He'll return, obviously, but he was called for targeting. We put in Mac. Mac went out. Our third string safety, Grayson Griffin. Actually, our third safety before the year ever started was Ben Clausen. He's been out. He will return this week, so he's going to resume practice on Wednesday. So that'll be a positive. And then our third going into the game is Grayson Griffin, and he hurt his back during the middle of the game on special teams. So we put Sabor in, who did an awesome job. The kid's had 2 weeks of really good football, the best he's had since he's been here. So he was playing boundary safety for us, kind of Matt Bailey's position. We put him in at free. So we were kind of moving guys around. And then at the corner position, Caleb Patterson, all the injuries, all the x-rays were negative. So expect him to be back with us tomorrow's practice. And also Torrey Cox, who was injured over on the sideline over there. His MRIs were negative last night. So he'll be back with us for practice on Tuesday as well. So some positive there to get guys back with us. Give a lot of credit to the guys and the coaches. We were literally down to our last DBs. Every one of them was out on the field that was at the game. So, as far as other guys, we did plan on playing J-Bo. We had a package for him, but never got to it, right? So he's back with us. Even though he didn't play Saturday night, he was cleared for the game and went through everything up to the game. And then Aiden Lawfrey went through warm-ups, just didn't feel like him and Thad had a conversation, just didn't feel like it was where it needed to be. If we put him in the game, would have anything other than full speed. So, but he's feeling really good. Should be with us full go this week as well. And then other than that, some guys bumped up and banged up, but other than that, pretty clean. So we got a tremendous challenge this week. USC got 2 ranked opponents. The last time that happened was last year for the Michigan game. So super excited about that, and just want to say excited for our fan base. Obviously, homecoming. I know that they're disappointed in Saturday night, just like I was, but the best way to help us out is to have a live crowd, a home field advantage, which is what we've been preaching, talking, and walking about since we've been here. It's 11 a.m. kickoff, so everybody has to get up a little earlier than usual. Well, I don't know, Robert, when do the gates open up to let people in? When's the truck come in? 7? Maybe 6. All right, so should have some early arrivals, and then obviously we're going to have a lot of people there. So to make your way in, to be there for that opening kickoff, I was really on Saturday night, a half hour before the game when I walked out on the field. Just the energy and excitement in that stadium was pretty awesome. They had a chance going back and forth. It was an environment that you knew when you walked into. So hopefully we get that same kind of feeling crowd here. So with that, open up for questions.
Great. Last Monday when you talked about Xavier, I think you said the X-rays were clear.
Yeah. So I'm not going to comment a lot because this kid's got an incredibly bright future, right? Gave him the option to talk, but I understand where he's coming from. Really, it's just a bunch of information coming. It's not uncommon that sometimes when medical people are involved, they look at something and they come back and make a suggestion. He went and saw a couple specialists across the country, just the kid's future and where it is. So the answer changed when some other people looked at it. They discovered a little bit more that they could correct through a surgery.
But how do you address the team with urgency to get things fixed, but also not panic?
Yeah, I don't think I have to be honest, right? Like those guys, I could feel in the locker room Saturday night. I said the worst thing that we can do is obviously ignore that this never happened. So we had to relive it, obviously, and really understand the process of why. It's ironic. I usually never watch the game on Saturday nights. In 17 years, I've never watched the game after the game because I've always thought you're either a little bit too high or a little bit too low. But being we had a 2.5 hour ride, I literally watched the game, and then one of the things I do during the course of the week, I stopped watching the coach's copy, and I started intercutting it with TV copy. So I started watching the TV copy of our game, right? And one of the things that really came out, I was watching a clip that I had said during the course of the week. I know ESPN had asked for copy, and they had filmed me in my post practice, and I had made a comment on Tuesday or Wednesday, I guess it was. I said, "Hey, in the middle of the second quarter, there's going to be a 2nd and 6 that could decide a lot about this game." And literally, about the middle of the second quarter, there was an offensive and defensive series back to back, where there was a 2nd and medium. Offensively, we got sacked, and then a 3rd down sack. And on defense, we gave up a 2-yard run, which isn't a big deal, but it created a 3rd and 4. That 3rd and 4 was a quick out route to the boundary where they picked, and not, but it is what it is. And they caught it behind the line of scrimmage, and that went for 26 yards and put on the right. And those two series were back to back, and that literally, when both of those series got done, I don't think the game was ever the game that we had going. Right, our defense had played pretty good against the run, had done some good things, got a sack early. Obviously, to start with the punt block was obviously nothing, but we overcame that with a big touchdown play. So, but I thought that point in the middle of the second quarter is when it really changed, right? And I think our guys are understanding that. It's very un-Illinois, or however you want to say it. Like we've never really been that team. And in the second half, the way it started when we both came out offensively and defensively to sputter, that's when I knew the team that I was watching wasn't a team that we had been preparing, right? And I think they know that, they understand it. I, as a head coach, have to ask why it happened to make sure it doesn't happen again.
What stands out to you about USC and maybe some keys in the game against them?
Yeah, I think for USC, without a doubt, extremely talented. We didn't play them last year, but we did cross over and watch them quite a bit. And I've known Lincoln for a while, not personally, but just followed his career at Oklahoma, USC, and what they've done offensively, what they've done especially at the quarterback position. This guy falls right in line with it. Got a lot of good skill on the outside. I think for us defensively, the challenge is going to be able to keep the ball in front of us, stop the big plays from happening. Defensively, offensively for us, we got to ride our own ship, right? Like we got to do the things that let us be successful. So obviously we got to starts with running the football, being efficient on 3rd down, but both of those tie in together with what everybody does. It's not just pinpointing one thing. So kind of tale of two different sides of the ball with different answers, but that's probably what needs to happen. And then I'm going to tell you, like special teams has traditionally been very good for us since I've been here. It's something we take a lot of pride in, and it's kind of one of those things, as we lose certain players, that depth affects everything. It affects it on the field, offense, defense. But we were literally Chris Hurd and that our special team staff was. There was one point where we lost our 3rd left tackle on punt. Like I've never even gotten, I believe, past my 2nd. So it was just that was something I've never experienced before. Like when I said what I said after the presser, that's really what I meant. Like I've never really been through a situation where that many things happen.
You were back yesterday, Saturday. What do you see about how you shore up your protection issues on the offensive line?
Yeah, well, I think the failure that we had, obviously, a high number of sacks. It's not just one position. It's not. Sorry. We have a rule in my office. Time to open pre-session. I think the part that I was very strong to our coaches, and our coaches relayed that message. Right, everybody just automatically points to it, maybe an offense, but it's not just the offensive line. It's a protection involves running backs, wide receivers, maybe not protection receivers, but running backs, tight ends, and the quarterback. Right, and I think to shore up what they're doing, I think a little bit schematically, but also just the approach and the confidence. I think has got to be a big thing. We've done it before. It's definitely something that I know we've addressed a little bit, but it came full circle. I think also when we get into 2 minute in the middle of the game there, they just, kind of just pin their ears back and we're coming and driving. So there's definitely some things we'll shore up schematically, but also a better job of approaching our communication with our players about the expectations.
Coach, how do you make sure that one game doesn't turn into 2?
You didn't like this answer?
Like last year, you lose on the road at Oregon, turns into Minnesota. How do you make sure that?
What do you want me to say?
Well,
I just answered it. Didn't I get the exact same question? So I didn't. To answer it to you, I think the biggest thing we have to do is understand that Saturday happened, right, and to process it. You have to watch the film. You have to communicate it. You have to take ownership in it, starting with me. And then I think this group, as experienced as they are, they've been through this a little bit, right? So maybe not to the extent of that score, but the process of it, the understanding of Oregon last year and the Minnesota repercussions afterwards, for sure. They've all lived it, but I think one of the things that really has to happen is there's a reason we do things a certain way. I literally brought him over Sunday, and the first thing I showed him was Sunday schedule. The reason we do Sunday schedule is win or lose, we come over, we take account for what happened on Sunday, and we turn the page Sunday night to move into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That didn't happen any differently yesterday than it did when we beat Duke, right? Like it didn't happen any differently than when we had success and failure last year. It's just kind of how we do things. The results were what we wanted. I didn't say anything about it. We had a tie for the longest winning streak in college football, right? Like that's awesome, but it sucks when it ends. Like I get it. Like I want it to hurt. I was very happy to see as many guys as I saw pissed in the locker room afterwards, right? And somber on Sunday. I didn't have a group coming in, bopping to the music. It was they're disappointed. So that's the answer.
Brett, Aaron had kind of 2 weeks ago sounded the alarm about missed tackles after the Western Michigan game.
Mm-hmm.
Said today the number doubled.
Yeah.
In your experience, how does that kind of manifest as getting contagious like a disease, and how do you nip it?
Yeah, well, two things. The tackles that we missed on Saturday night, especially, were a lot of open space tackles, or a little bit of some on the edge. But I know in particular they ran an RPO number 3 across the middle that we literally first hit him on, I believe, the 42-yard line. The ball got down on the 10, so he gained 30 plus yards on 3 or 4 missed tackles. Now a lot of that had to do with number 3 is a really good player and his run extremely strong. But I think even tomorrow's practice will probably simulate a little bit at what we do to correct that physically, and then also just a mental approach.
Injury question I had. I know he returned to the game, but Hank took a big hit.
Yeah.
Do you expect that to linger at all with him?
Hank's an extremely tough kid. That was the first play. I actually turned that play in. I thought it was a little bit late, and then also they stood over him and taunted. I just want to make sure that we got the clarity on that. But I think it affected him for sure. But he was cleared to play. Just right now he's cleared for practice Tuesday. But yeah, he's going to be sore. And we do have a lot of soft tissue recovery things, hyperbaric chambers, cold cryo chambers, all that stuff. And I know he's already been in there.
Haven't seen too many hiccups on special teams. Was the block punt? Was that?
Well, there's two things. There's
Kickoff?
only 10 guys on the field, and so honestly, the count was off because they only had 10, right? So we actually had a guy that could pop back and get that man that rolled off the edge. We knew when 5 came in there, but we were trying to go with a little bit of tempo on that first one, so it was kind of the perfect storm for where it was at.
When you talk about one more effort, targeting on Miles, just how he
Yeah.
tried to avoid it, and you didn't like that. Maybe you have to go low. How do you? I mean, you make changes there. Think about how.
Yeah, for sure. Like we said, because then literally within probably 5 minutes after that, there was almost the same exact play, and Mac Resetich came up, and I kind of held my breath when he was going in for the same thing. So, now I think the only answer is to go low, which is I don't think a great answer, right? And because Miles definitely put his head down and tried to keep it out of it, and I'll get the interpretation from them, but like the only thing now you can do is just go down and saw them, right? And now you got a player that's running full speed in the middle of the field, and you're literally taking him out below the waist, and I don't see the good in that. So it's probably something that I think the collective heads all got to talk about. If that was a play, and honestly, I've been on the rules committee since 2008 or 9, and there's probably never been more talk because everybody gets the intended targeting. I get that, right? Like we wanted to, when we gave the birth of this rule, it was to change players' behaviors, and there is no way that anybody can deny that hadn't happened. I mean, nobody really goes around for those knockout blows and blindside hits, and that stuff's been eliminated for our game. But I do think there's a process that when those bang bang plays happen, like no one's intention, they're playing the game that they all grew up loving to play, right? Miles went in there with everything other than I'm going to hit this kid in the head. I mean, and you think about how fast that happens, and to have the result that kid misses 3/4 of the biggest game that he'd been preparing to come back for his senior year, it's not fair. I'd say the same thing if it happened the other way, right? Like I've been on the other side of it too, where I'm like, man, it's not what it needs to be, right? So I just hope that we keep appealing to the people that need to be appealed to, and maybe there's a modification that can, they've kind of kept modifying this rule a little bit, and hopefully that'll be a byproduct of it. Yes.
One more. It's the way offenses are using RPOs.
Yeah.
They kind of quickly got the ball out of their hands on Saturday. How do you guys go about scheming like those? Other teams will try to do the same.
Yeah. Well, RPO has been in the game for a while. I thought those guys had done it as good as anybody. That's part of the reason they have success. I think there's three things: obviously the coverage, but also the pass rush, and the identification of it before it happens. So those three things are always going to be in every defense, but in the RPO game, they're big.
Thank you, guys.